Welcome back. Hello, everyone. And I'm so glad to welcome you to the afternoon session of our second day of the Lupus Foundation's Lupus Mini Health Conference. I hope you had a good break. And if you're just joining us, welcome. We now have about 6 people joining us, and I'm sure more will log in as time goes on. But this wellness session will be led by Regan Birr. Regan is a lupus warrior and the founder and executive director of the Lupus Research Foundation in Minnesota. Regan taught her program here at the Lupus Foundation of Northern California from 2011 to 2013, and we're thrilled to have her back. After Regan's session, we'll have a live Q&A, so if you have any questions, just type them into the Q&A section on your Zoom window. You can type it during her presentation, or you could wait until the Q&A session, either way. And you can also ask questions anonymously just by clicking the checkbox next to your question before you click submit. So don't be shy. So here, I'm really pleased to welcome Regan Birr.
Thank you. Thank you, Lori, and thank you all so much from the Lupus Foundation of Northern California. It's been so good to work with you, Maggie, all these years, and everyone who is there from when I lived there to now and today. And I'm so pleased to be working together. This is just wonderful and fun. So wishing everybody wellness, and I give you much gratitude. So thank you for having me today. All right, so let's get started. My name is Regan, and like Lori said, I am the founder and executive director of the Lupus Research Foundation, which is based in Minnesota. I also have an exercise company called Regan Moves for low torque exercise for people with chronic conditions. So before I introduce the program a little bit, I just want to say 3 housekeeping items. My internet is a little bit spotty, so if it drops off, just wait about 40 seconds and I'll be right back on. Secondly, like Lori said, you can put your questions in the Q&A, and then at the end, it can almost be like interactive because Lori will give me your questions and we can, visit back and forth that way. And third, if you have time, I would say grab a pen and a piece of paper, because some of the stuff we'll do today is, exercise based, not just physical, but things you might want to write down for yourself. So today I'm here to talk to you about ways that I have felt better having lupus. We'll talk about 3 things: nutrition, mindset, and exercise. And for the exercise part, just have some water with you and a chair, because some of the exercises, well, all of the exercises can be done from a chair. And we'd rather have you underdo today than overdo. And of course, if you're going to adopt this exercise program in the future, just make sure you run it by your doctor. Okay, so let's get started. I am a lupus patient. I have systemic lupus. And my other diagnoses include osteoarthritis, Sjogren's, fibro, and a little bit of neuropathy. I also have Raynaud's. When I was first diagnosed many, many years ago, my exact diagnosis is WHO class 4 diffuse proliferative glomerulonephritis, which garnered a usage of Cytoxan cyclophosphamide for 2.5 years via IV. I took it monthly for 6 months, and then for 2 years, I had it every 3 months. During that time, I was also on high-dose prednisone. So, I had symptoms that a lot of you guys have. I had a lot of pain and fatigue. The pain was such that I had to use a cane to walk up the stairs, and I was on Darvocet, Darvon, and Ultram. And the Ultram didn't make driving easy. It gave me even more brain fog. The fatigue was such that, I couldn't walk more than probably 50 paces before I'd have to stop and sit down and probably have a bottle of water, because the water seemed to give me energy. But it was, probably a touch of depression in there as well. Some days I didn't understand, really what it meant to be alive or not. It was just a confusing time, and a lot of things in my life changed. I gained weight, probably a lot from the prednisone and being inactive. So the great thing is at this point in time, I am now considered to be in long-term remission on medication. The medication that I'm on is prednisone, 3 milligrams a day, and Plaquenil, 300 milligrams a day. I do also have an excellent prognosis. So I'm very blessed. My energy has increased and my pain has decreased. And now I probably have 28 good days in a month, whereas before I'd probably have 28 bad days in a month. So, you know, that flipped. So let's talk about how that changed for me. And if I knew then what I know now, I probably would have, you know, felt better a lot sooner. So first thing we're going to talk about is nutrition. And at this point, I am going to share my screen. And I also want to let you know that this nutritional guideline that we're providing today is approved by Dr. Newald. So share screen. Bear with me. There it is. All right. So here is a little background. Oh, the screen, it's not advancing. There we go. A little bit about me. I'm from small town Saskatchewan. That's me on the farm butchering chickens. That's my dad in the background. The chickens were delicious. Then in the lower picture, that's me graduating from mechanical engineering. So about 4 months after I finished school and moved to the States, I was diagnosed with lupus. This one shows me getting my kidney biopsy. We're smiling, so this is after the kidney biopsy was done. But that was really tough, and that's when the beginning of my changing of my life happened. I hesitated to show this picture because it's, you know, it's rainbows and sunshine, but that's where I'm at today. And like I say, if I can share something that can help people improve their health, get strong, and help the longevity of their joints, that's what we're going to talk about today. And all of this can be done with a mindset that this is easy. Doesn't have to be hard. Easy is effective. Trust me. So this is what I really want to talk about as the first step to my getting better. My nutrition plan includes an anti-inflammatory diet. Not reinventing the wheel here. This is something that is purported by the Arthritis Foundation of America, as well as other doctors that I am doctoring with. So let's start. I look at any glycemic index chart, but this one's a nice one. It basically shows you low, medium, and high glycemic index foods. And the goal here is to eat low to medium glycemic index foods. And how I first started this was I was actually trying to get rid of acne, believe it or not. And I did commit to following low glycemic index foods for 30 days. So as an example, you can see lots of vegetables in the low glycemic index section, lettuce, strawberries, pear, even cheese. I don't eat dairy because it bothers my stomach, but fish and cherries. And like I said, online, you can look up any glycemic index chart. My favorite one online is actually by Mendoza, and that has all the foods you can imagine. But then check out medium, coffee, pineapple, grapes, bananas, kiwi. It's all wonderful whole food legumes that are good for you. And then we have on the high side, things we really should avoid, which is cut back on white sugar, white flour, white bread. I mean, waffles, cupcakes, burgers, muffins, juice, anything that's going to spike your blood sugar can lead to inflammation. All right. So a little more detail here. There are 3 ways to move forward with an anti-inflammatory diet. And again, keep it simple. So number 1, follow the GI chart. Number 2, try and eat protein with every meal. And this is only if it's okayed by your doctor. So even though this is an approved program, you should get permission from your doctor because everybody is different and your protein needs might be different. And for me, having kidney disease, I still try to limit how much protein I have. I eat enough, but not too much. The third thing is simple, pay attention to your portions. Simple, but sometimes you need some tips and tricks to get through that. And I've got some to give to you today. Again, you know, everybody's talking about protein these days, protein powders. That's something that I avoid. It's not necessary. You can still get enough protein to help you absorb your food, which is the goal, without overdoing it. a good recommendation according to fitness journals is about 1/3 of a gram of protein per pound of body weight. So again, pay real close attention to that. You really don't need a lot of protein. And if you're hungry, eat. I never go hungry. I don't starve. That maybe is just as bad as overdoing your food. So make sure you feel satisfied. We just want to make sure it's healthy food. Okay, so some of these things are on my website as well. And you can check out day 2 and 3 there. But here's one day of a 3-day diet that you can try. I've got 6 meals in here. So for example, and today is a good example. For breakfast, I had a nectarine. Oh, first I start the day with water. That's really important, especially if you have Sjogren's. Then I had an egg. Also, I had some egg whites in a pan with olive oil. It was delicious. Sometimes I add steel cut oats, and to those, sometimes I add frozen berries. I'm quite money wise. So if you can afford fresh berries, that's wonderful. And if you'd rather just be a little more conscious of your dollar, I buy frozen pretty much everything. So frozen cherries, frozen blueberries, any kind of berry you like. Berries are great for the brain, and they have anti-inflammatory properties and antioxidant properties. And maybe you want to splash a little bit of cinnamon on top. Talk to your doctor if tea or coffee is recommended for you. I do drink both. I drink caffeinated and decaffeinated tea and coffee. I just make sure that if I feel like putting sugar in it, I use real sugar. I don't use any artificial sweeteners, not even stevia. So mid-morning, maybe 10 o'clock, you get a little peckish. Even just 4 almonds is enough protein to pair with your food. And for me, I'll eat 4 almonds and a piece of fruit. Maybe I'll have an apple. I did today. Lunch, I will have chicken, and admittedly, you may not want to always do processed food, but sometimes I even eat canned chicken or canned salmon or tuna in those packets. They're really great. They're still healthy and they're good for portion size. If you need a carb with that, quinoa is a great one. I also love rye bread and rye crackers, and Rye Vita is a great brand for those. And it's good for you. It's a little lower on the glycemic index chart than wheat. And then vegetables. I am a person who counts calories. It helps me be accountable to myself. And I do not count vegetables in my calorie count. So eat as many of them as you want. And you may also want a salad. And a good trick is to start and end a meal with a salad. Also, you might want soup. Another easy vegetable to cook is a yam. You can even put it in the microwave. Yams are lower on the glycemic index chart than potatoes, and they're delicious. Again, with the veggies, you might want to saute them in a little bit of olive oil. Fantastic. We also have recipes for cauliflower steak, believe it or not, and roasted carrots. Then if you're hungry in the afternoon, you're going to have maybe cottage cheese if you can tolerate dairy, and some prunes, almonds, or again, back to a little bit of meat on a carb cracker. For supper, same thing, a healthy meat. So I'm cutting back on red meat. And instead we eat turkey, which can be ground turkey. It's reasonable on the pocketbook and calories. Fish, chicken, or bison. And if you want a carb, again, you could have brown rice, maybe tofu noodles. There are many options for you. Again, stock up on your vegetables. The best way that you can get nutrients to your body is through food. There's just no replacement for that. I have done supplements in the past. You'd have to run those by your doctor. And now I've really cut back on them, except for some key ones recommended by my rheumatologist. I instead focus on foods that are colorful. So my green vegetables, my red apples, and anything else that you can eat and enjoy and tolerate. And again, for bedtime snack, it is okay, run it by your doctor, to eat a little bit of food even right before bed, as long as you don't eat too much. So oatmeal and an apple could work. The whole goal with an anti-inflammatory diet is to watch your portions, watch what you eat. So avoid spiking your inflammation also by controlling your portions. And what the goal also is I should say, what you're essentially trying to do is prevent foods from rapidly converting to blood sugar in your bloodstream. And every time you eat, you're going to have a spike in your blood sugar. But let's say this is the baseline, okay? When we eat high glycemic index foods, we have a spike, and then we have a sugar crash. If we eat, so this is how it goes all day long. big peaks, deep valleys. The goal with this diet is to just make the peaks smaller and the valleys shallower. So your spikes and your valleys are less pronounced, and it ends up making you not feel the desire to have a nap at any point in the day. It's incredible. It increased my energy. At the end of my 30 days, what I also noticed is, besides my acne going away, my pain was a lot lower. So that really clued me in. If this is good for my skin, it's good for my body. And all these years later, that's what places like the Arthritis Foundation are telling us. So simple things, I love this chart, and there's more online if you want to take a look. It's all on reganmoves.com. So these are just examples. There's a ton more, but eat this, not that. So instead of sugar, have agave. Instead of rice, have brown rice or quinoa. Instead of pasta, or as Americans say, pasta, try brown rice pasta. Or have you tried veggie noodles, like just spiraling a zucchini? They're really good. And even wheat tortillas are lower on the glycemic index chart than corn tortillas. So there's really a lot of variety out there, and you can pick the foods that work for you. I know there are some people that just may avoid bananas and other food that's a little higher on the glycemic index chart. I personally don't need to or want to eliminate any fruit because I love fruit. But again, depending on if you have diabetes or other issues, run all this by your doctor. Another wonderful snack that's filling and low calorie and shouldn't spike your blood sugar too bad are smoothies. I love smoothies. So I'll just pour frozen fruit into a cup, usually blueberries and maybe a couple of strawberries, half a banana, maybe the banana's fresh, or did you know you can freeze bananas, just peel them and throw them in the freezer, and almond milk, enough to cover, the stuff that's in there, maybe a little extra, mix it up, and you've got a wonderful snack. Okay, so other tips to keep your inflammation down. It's a good idea to eat your protein first and eat protein with every meal. Again, you can eat protein with every meal without overdoing it, but be mindful of your kidneys and check it out with your doctor. To carry out portion control, I love this. Take a sip of water between each bite. It'll be amazing to you how full you'll feel and how much less you'll eat, but you'll still be full for hours. Give it a try. Another trick I do is I put my fork down consciously between each bite. And when I'm eating, typically I'll smell my food because I love food anyway, but I might even say to myself, okay, chicken, flavoring, cauliflower, broccoli, whatever you love, say it, be in the moment, be conscious of everything you eat, and that'll help you with feeling satisfied. And it'll help you enjoy your life and your food. So cow's milk can give some people some gastrointestinal issues. A good alternative is almond milk. It even comes in chocolate, coconut milk, oat milk. There's many, many other alternatives. So pick what works for you. Another fun thing I like to eat, especially if I'm not feeling well, I'll put cherry juice concentrate, just a little bit of it, in an 8-ounce glass and fill the glass up to probably the top. And just sip on that. Again, it's low calorie, antioxidant, and delicious. I also used to have about this much of Palm Wonderful every day, and I think that helps with my recovery. Cherries are excellent for memory. They're just great for the brain beauty connection. So anytime you can eat cherries or berries, that's a good thing. And again, frozen is just fine. A healthy condiment that adds zip to your meal, if you can tolerate it, if you don't have acid reflux, is a little bit of hot sauce. I've learned to really appreciate all different kinds of hot sauce after moving to the States. So I just wanted to share a picture of my husband, Todd. I feel like if you can fill your life with blessings and surround yourself with wonderful people who love and support you, and you only need a handful, that's great. Eliminate what doesn't support you and pump up what fuels you. And so Todd and he is a world-class curler, one of the most decorated curlers in the world, and he has a world bronze medal. He helped form the Lupus Spiel, which helps raise money for research and fund Dr. Niewald, who you just heard from, and raises awareness. So we're very excited about the Lupus Spiel, and it's a ton of fun. Okay, Dr. Niewald, he is aiming to cure lupus and his countdown is 5 years. As you saw, genetic research has really ramped up. It's opening the door for more possibilities. And compared to when I was first diagnosed all those years ago, hope is on the horizon. And, you know, we want to live better right now while we're running hard for a cure. So we're very proud to support him. And I loved listening to his presentation earlier. Here's where your pen and paper comes in handy before we move to the mindset piece. If you want to get in touch with me, that's my personal cell phone and my personal email. And then info about, you know, the exercise we're going to look at and some videos is on reganmoves.com. And info about the charity that we operate is letscurelupus.org. Okay. So now I'm going to stop screen sharing and talk to you about the tools that I've been given that help me get through daily life and tee me up to be able to exercise. Because remember, I was still feeling pretty crummy with my lupus, getting a little bit more energy from the change in diet and starting to feel a little less pain. But when I started to exercise is when things really started to help and I started to feel better. Well, how do you exercise when you're not feeling well? These are tools for your tool belt. And I could have made slides of these, but I figured this was much more fun. All right. Key slogan of Facebook: done is better than perfect. If you are close to finishing a project or you've basically got it done, stop, send it off, and get it out the door. Because the more you fuss about things, the more it's going to create anxiety. So another trick I use is just do it. Itty bitty bitty, just get it done. It's going to be wonderful anyway because you did it. We're going to do a good job. It doesn't have to be perfect. Have you ever heard the saying, I would have written a shorter letter, but I didn't have time? So all of this is time consuming and it's, you know, pulling on our brain power. Be happy with what you do. Pat yourself on the back. I did it. I'm done. Good job. It's okay to say with a physical connection, good job, Regan. Done. All right. Burn that one into your brain. Okay. Energy marbles. So this I came up with when I was so tired that I was awake for literally, when it was really bad, 4 hours a day at the very beginning before I started my medication. I was awake for 4 hours a day, sleeping for 20. My family knows this. It was bad. So I have a bowl of objects. Maybe they're marbles or stones or these nice rocks that we collect, and a bowl. This is my bowl of available energy during the day. This is my empty bowl. This is going to represent what I use up. Okay. I just unloaded the dishwasher. Nope. Maybe I have only one energy marble left for the day, depending on where you are in your diagnosis. Okay, I just vacuumed one room of the house. Okay, I'm done. I am done. Stop. Stop for the day. Don't do any hard projects, whether they're brain objects or things that you're doing with your body. And just get ready to shut down and go to sleep that night so you can recharge and get ready for your next day. Because some days it's hard to even wash your face. Some days we're not getting out of bed. A lot of days we're not showering. It's hard to get in and out of the bathtub. I mean, so make life easy for yourself. It's going to be adjustment. And there are ways we can adjust that I'll get to, but energy marbles, it's visual and it really helps. Okay. Did you know that even when you do dishes, it helps your brain? Busy work is good for your brain. Anytime you're using your hands, and this is documented, it's a connection with your brain. You're thinking about what you're doing. It's your hands, motion, coordination, brain, you're thinking and you're engaging. And maybe it's actually helping you focus on what you're doing and getting your mind off other things. Or maybe it's allowing you to think of other things. Whatever it is for you, it's a good thing to do tasks like clean your countertop, make a meal, wash your dishes, you know, declutter, put some stuff away. You know, I used to begrudge like some little things like that because I'm like, oh, I'm using my energy for this, but that's a good thing to do and it's good for your brain. So I think that's great. Okay, a little bit tougher topic here. You know, Everybody has experience with a myriad of physicians, caregivers. And the biggie is your caregiving team. You know, we have all these ISTs, rheumatologist, cardiologist, neurologist, you know, everything you can imagine. And I still have those people and need those people. So if you ever walk into somebody's office and say, hey, you know, I heard that eating a certain diet can be beneficial for my lupus. And if somebody ever, this is just an example, but if somebody says, or say, you say, I've heard acupuncture can help. And they say, you know, there's no evidence of that. They're human. It could simply be that they're not looking for that evidence. They're using their knowledge. They don't have the full ken. It's not in their ken. It's not their fault. But at that point, you might want to ask for a conversation. Well, this is what I read. Wait for the response. Make sure they listen to you and engage in conversation, and or get a second opinion, and or move on. It's okay to switch doctors. I've done it once or twice. Wonderful move. The rheumatologist I had in Denver, a Sjogren's expert, known around the world, also learned how to give acupuncture. Those are the kinds of people that I'm interested in. So never give anyone your respect if they're in a position of authority or power just because they're in that position. Wait until they have earned your respect. Because you have to trust yourself. We all have intuition. We all know what we need. Trust that inner voice. And this ties into a few key things. Do you wake up in the morning and have a routine? Do you have a devotional? Do you think of something first thing you get up? Do you have a plan? These things can really help as well. And to give you those tools, I recommend therapy. Therapy really helped me. It helped me understand the person that I knew I was, get back to the basics. Sometimes things we prioritize in our childhood shape the person we are in our adulthood, and that's just fine. What you want matters. What you say counts, and what you think should be influential. And at least learn. It's good to be interested in what other people say to you as well. Again, it's just about getting information and then finding out what works for you. Even with all of this stuff I'm throwing at you today, take it, tweak it, form it for you. You're the one shaping your own destiny. You are in charge. You're the best person to take care of yourself, and there's no better advocate than you for your health. All right. None of this has to be hard. When we get into the exercise, I'm going to show you that easy is effective. If it's hard, we need to tweak something. Easy is effective. Whether it's mental exercises or physical exercises, when we talk about easy is effective, this is what's going to happen. Once you start doing things in a pattern, it is no longer willpower that is impelling you to do those things in the pattern. It is schedule. So remember when we said, what do you do when you first wake up? Let's say for the most part, I don't always brush my teeth in the morning. Usually I do, but I don't know if you do either. So let's just say for the most part, most people probably brush their teeth first thing in the morning. I mean, that's just automatic. Once you start these things like exercise, it's not going to be, oh, I got to exercise again. It's going to be, I'm exercising again with almost no emotion. Will there be anticipation? Maybe. Will there be angst? No, there will be like, I got this. I can do it. I'm keeping it simple. That's the key. Keep it simple, because easy is effective. We must prevent injury. And that's why I'm going to show you ways to move that will keep you safe and strengthen your joints and make you feel better. Every step you take counts. Easy is effective. If walking to the mailbox 20 steps out of your door is what you can do in the day, that's wonderful. Take it. Pat yourself on the back. That matters and that counts. That's going to build you up. If exercising from a chair is what you can do, that's wonderful. If thinking about something that matters to you is what you can do that day, and it's a productive thought process, that is valuable. All of that counts. All of that matters. So make sure that you work smarter and not harder. That's key. I don't work hard. That picture I showed you with those abdominal muscles, you know, believe it or not, I don't work hard. I work steady. I've got my schedule. I don't exercise every day. Probably most days I do. I keep it simple and I work steady, but that's where pattern and schedule will come into play with you. We would rather have you underdo than overdo, whether it's activities like cleaning your house or exercise. I'd rather have you underdo to prevent injury. Okay. It's more important to feel like you worked out, but to never be sore, never be sore. And remember, when you're exercising, if it hurts, stop. That line about no pain, no gain, that is not applicable in today's world. So if it hurts, stop. It's okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna demonstrate, and you can work along with me, the exercise portion of Regan Moves. I hope you're ready. Why do we exercise? So 3 reasons. It's going to strengthen the muscles to support the joints, okay? Number 2, it's going to lubricate your joints. Synovial fluid is released, and it's like having a grease can and being like, and so you're stopping being squeaky and you're just like more fluid, which will help you feel less pain. Third, did you know that low to moderate intensity exercise is anti-inflammatory? And I think that's a big part of my recovery. Once I started to move, things just started working better. I started feeling better. So that's what I want to share with you. Okay, so I'm going to make some room and do some demonstrations, and then we're going to work out together just for a few minutes, or you can watch this later. That's cool. But what Regan Moves is 2 keys that I want to show you. It's low torque exercise. It's also low impact, but I want to talk about the shoulder and the knees to demonstrate low torque. Okay, so here's what it is. And I had to do trial and error to figure out, once I changed my body position, why I went from crying from doing a squat to being able to do the squat. And that was just in my first year engineering textbooks. I reduced the torque. Okay, so simple example. Say you have your bottle of water in front of you. I'll back up just a little so you can see me. If you hold your arm out like this, you've got force, which is your arm, the weight of your arm, or the weight that's at the end of your arm, force times distance equals torque. Torque is a bending force about an axis. In this case, the axis is your shoulder. So this is getting exhausting right now. So force times distance is torque. If you want to reduce the torque, you either reduce the weight, okay, get rid of the water, or reduce your distance. That should feel like night and day on your shoulder. So the cool thing is, look, you can still conduct a shoulder raise. You just rotate the shoulder about the joint, keep your arm at about a 90-degree angle, and you're still working your anterior deltoid and probably preventing injury. So this is the key to sustainability, and that's what Regan Moves is all about. You want to be able to do something now that you can do when you're 90 to have a long life, to live well with lupus, okay? It is possible. You might start slow, but eventually you'll get there. Okay, now I'm going to show you what I mean by a squat with low torque. When you go to the gym, I'm going to put this down so you can see the feet. A trainer will typically tell you to sit back on your heels and sit down into a squat, okay? That's putting torque on your knees, because force, which is your torso, times distance is torque. Watch this. Just by shifting my center of gravity above my knees helps me reduce the torque. Now my weight is evenly distributed on my knees. I don't have torque or a pressure point. Okay, so to do that, it's important to have a straight back or slightly arched back, never rounded, because you want to protect your back. So you're also going to draw your belly button to your spine. Have your back straight or arched. Hinge at the hips. And now you can do a squat, okay? That's a safe Regan Move squat right here. You can do it very shallow. You can do it a little deeper or like this. Whatever feels good on your knees. And if you can't work that, and if it bothers your knees, I'm going to show you exercises from a chair. Okay, so let's start a few moves. I just want to show you how I warm up, and then we're going to do some exercises on our legs and our shoulders. Okay, are you guys ready? All right, so a simple warm up is something as simple as doing heel taps. Okay, if you can see, I'm tapping my heels in front of me, tapping my toes. If you want to add some arms, fine. If you want to do bigger arms, fine, that's cool. And to tease your brain a little bit, you can even change which foot goes out with which arm. See, now it's left and left, right and right. Now I'm switching it again, so it's opposite. Anytime you cross the body, it's good for the brain. If this hurts you and you can't use your hip flexors, just tap, tap, tap. Cross the body, it's good for the brain. You get the idea. I never jump. I do things like walking on the spot and a jack. This is not a jumping jack, it is a modified jack. So just walking on the spot, lifting your arms, okay? All this cardio can be done from a chair. Simply tap your feet if you like to. I'm gonna do tap, 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 and arms. Okay, if that's too much for you, maybe you just tap your feet or lift your leg one at a time or do tiny arm movements. Okay, you guys get the idea. Again, I'm gonna go back to working my quad muscles, which is the front of my leg, without having to do a squat. Now, my knee surgeon, I never had to get knee surgery, but my knees were so sore when I was 27, my surgeon gave me these exercises. So instead of doing a squat, what you can do is sit in a chair, extend your leg, and simply tense or do isometric exercises on your quad, okay? Squeeze your quad muscle, squeeze it. If you can, lift your leg a little bit, okay? Or extend your leg. See how I'm extending my leg? That's very, very good for the quad muscle. But again, if all you can do is just squeeze this, that's fine. Just don't do that too many times because isometric exercise, i.e. the squeeze, can build blood pressure, and run this by your doctor. But generally, isometrics are excellent to prevent injury, and that's what we want, okay? Or you can do mini get-ups from a chair. You know, it's good for the quads when you get up and down. It's almost like a squat. You don't even have to lift up off the chair, just make the motion. Really good for the legs, and right now I can tell you, I can feel it. I'm starting to sweat, and I'm sure you are too. So you guys get the idea. Regan Moves also likes to do, in between strength segments, cardio. So again, if you want, you can do punches. That'll be your cardio. We just did a strength segment, okay? If you have heart disease, you're not gonna wanna take your arms overhead. So instead, lift them up slightly, okay? Do different motions with your arms. Maybe you cross, maybe you do like you're doing a hula dance. That all matters. That's gonna get your heart rate up, you're burning calories, more so than if you would be going on a walk outside. And maybe your hips are sore that day, like mine get to be sometimes, and you don't wanna walk. Well, if you're watching TV, do a little bit of motion. It'll make you feel better. It gets your brain moving. It's anti-inflammatory. It's good for you, and it strengthens the muscles. Okay, I do want to show you while we're seated, an easy way to work the back of your legs, which is your hamstrings, okay? So you can simply take a leg in front of you and drag it back. If you drag it back further, like underneath you, that does more work. So put in front of you, drag it back. That's working your hamstrings. Easy way to do that, right? Strengthen your muscles. That helps your knees. You can also squeeze as well, squeeze your glutes. That's a good way to make sure you're getting the muscles that support you. And those are important because they're one of our largest muscle, if not the largest muscle. You gotta work your glutes. Apparently that's healthy for the hips as well. That's what my physical therapist told me. So working the hamstrings, all right? And if you want to do some cardio working the hamstrings, pull it back, pull it back, pull it back, pull it back. You can even squeeze, if your body allows you, in the buttocks to work your glutes and your hamstrings. Okay. Now let's talk about shoulders. Again, we talked about weights or no weights. You really don't need weights, but if you do, you can start with a can of tuna or a can of soup like I did, or these are 2-pound weights, or you can purchase 1-pound weights. So I'm going to reduce my lever and I'm going to have a bent arm and I'm going to rotate about the shoulder. Rotate about the shoulder. Okay. I once had a client who had a frozen shoulder. She was a lupus patient. She was 70 years old at the time, still doing very well. And she couldn't go that high. So she would reduce her weight, okay, and reduce her motion. She could only go about like that. Well, guess what? Look at the work you're doing on your shoulder. It's super exciting. Baby steps count. I get so excited about this. This is hard to do when you're not feeling well, but it is possible. And if you can't do that, maybe you can do like a micro arm raise. Micro counts, micro squats, micro everything. It's a mind shift between sitting on your couch and watching TV, like I used to do, I fully admit it, and doing something, being actionable. Action is my comfort. It helps me. It makes me feel like I'm productive in the world because it is being productive. Same thing, frozen shoulder. She would go like this. Okay. Now, ways you can work your triceps, the back of your arm. Put your arms behind you, have your hands close together to the point where you feel a squeeze. Pump and hold. Pump and hold. You don't need weights. You don't need weights for this. But that's a good way to keep your arms toned and keep all of your muscles strengthened around these joints. You never want to hyperextend your joints, okay? Which means like super straight arms. You want to have them slightly bent, and you want to be mindful of your weight so that you never overdo the torque. I hope that makes sense. So I hope you guys are getting ready to leave me questions. Let's see. Oh, so those are examples. And like I say, we can go through more of this if you have any questions. I want to show you abdominals from a chair. No need to get down onto a mat to do your abdominals. So these can be done from, your office. See, my heart rate's up. I'm burning calories. Simple exercises. Again, if you have back issues, just be a little careful here. I'm going to show you just a small movement to get your whole rectus abdominis. Simple. Lean back to the point where you feel like, you're working your muscles, and come forward. Never hold your breath. You always want to breathe. And I try to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Okay. Or if I'm working hard like I am right now, it's all through the mouth, and that's okay. I can still talk when I'm exercising, and that's a good thing. Might even be a good judge to be able to, sing or hold a note when you're exercising instead of overdoing it. Because again, we want to underdo rather than overdo. The whole goal is to prevent an injury so you can keep going. So if you want to work your obliques, maybe you turn. Again, be careful if you have back issues. Watch your spine. Hold and hold. Check this one out. It's one of my favorites. It's for your obliques as well. Okay. Keep a straight spine. You don't want to bend it or curve it. And I'm going to keep my shoulders and my knees square with each other as I lean. Oh, lean. So you don't want to be like this or twisted. You are square to the world, square face in front of you, and you're leaning. Okay, so what do you feel right now? This side is working. It should be hard. Poke it to your muscle is hard. This side is soft. So this is a side that's, working by virtue of supporting you. Hold it. Always breathe. You don't want to create the Selva maneuver. Always breathe. Okay. And the other side, again, square. Let's see. Now I'm square. Hold. Maybe take a few breaths. Check it. Yeah. Done. Isn't that fun? Okay. Other abdominal exercises. And there's a ton of these, but here's another one. Little circles. This you should be able to feel in your whole trunk, even the muscles in your back. Go the other way. Now, can you do bigger circles? Challenging, super fun. Okay, so now I also want to show you a couple of stretches. And typically I do stretch in between each segment. It's cardio strength, so that we keep moving the whole time so we don't pool our blood, and stretching in between so we move the material around. And like if you have, you know, lactic acid building up in your quads from the squats that we did, getting in and out of the chair, or just isometrics, just move the material around. Do that. It'll make it feel better. And that's a real technique so that you can, you know, feel okay, feel good the next day, or possibly do a few more repetitions. So let's stretch our neck. We're never supposed to roll our neck backwards, and be careful if you have cervical spine issues, but I'm going to show you the look, lean, and robot. This is the look. Look to your left. Look to your right. A friend of mine with fibromyalgia said, or sorry, osteoporosis, said her doctor said it's okay to even help it a little. But again, run that by your doctor. Number one is to be safe. Now the lean. Tip your head, the top of your head, to your shoulder. And just sit there for a while. It should give you a nice stretch in here. This should relieve tension when you're seated. You know, everybody's working from home and Zoom these days. It's important to stretch while you're at your desk, or get up every 20 minutes for a couple of minutes. So that's the look and the lean. You don't want to lean your body, you're just leaning your head. The robot, I call it that because I envision a robot going, so put your chin to your chest, and now rotate your chin to your shoulder. Keep your shoulders relaxed, chin to the shoulder, and all the way to the other side. Back again, and back again. I want to show you a breathing exercise I do, which helps for calming and focus. It's called box breathing. You can use it before you have a presentation. You can use it if you're sitting at your desk. It's whatever count you want, but I'm going to use counts of 3. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. So it's the only time I'm going to show you to hold your breath, but you're just holding it for a short amount of time, whatever you can tolerate. Maybe it's only 1 beat or 2, and that's okay. Okay, so these are relaxing things to do at the end of a Regan Moves session. And the last thing I want to show you is from a chair or from a standing position, we're going to do some balance exercises, okay? If you can extend your arms in front of you, even if they're bent, close your eyes. Breathe. Look to your left. Come to the center. Look to your right. Come to the center. Think of something happy. Smile. Look to the left. Center. Look to the right. Can you stand with a chair? Look ahead. Maybe one arm is out. Close your eyes. Look to the left. Look to the right. Go on one toe. Look to the left. Look to the right. Other side. Arms out. Go on your toe right away. Look to the left. Look to the right. Look to the left. Look to the right. It's really important to do balance exercises. As we all know, everybody has fallen. And as we have folks in our lives that are loved ones that have falls, your balance starts to change at the age of 30. So it's really important to make sure you get some balance exercises in every day. And it's also important to stretch your toes because your toes are all part of your balance. So with your toes in your shoe or outside of your shoe, you just spread them on the floor and kind of rock back and forth on your toe. Make sure you're spreading your toes, you got mobility in your toes, and you're maybe going a little forward and down if you can. Really important to stretch out and, have good balance and work your toes. So that's basically it in a nutshell from head to toe. Let's see if I have any more notes. I do not. It was so fun working out with you today. I hope those are some good tips. There's longer videos that you can follow along with, or just ask me questions even right now. So thank you so much. And I'd love to hear your questions if you've got any.
Hi, Regan. Thank you.
Hi, Lori. Thank you.
So good. Gosh,
did you follow along?
Good. My neck feels a lot better, actually.
Oh, good. Mine too.
I think I was holding a little tension in my neck, and so I followed along. My neck feels better, and I did that box breathing, so I'm ready to moderate again. So all good.
Thank you.
Your enthusiasm is infectious, I have to say. It's so fun. You really bring a ton of excitement to it. A quick question. When someone's having a bad day, wakes up feeling bad, is there a couple quick exercises of those that you showed us? Is there like just a couple ones that you really like to just do when you just don't feel that good, but you want to do a little something?
Absolutely. I have to say it's starting with breathing. You wake up and say you're feeling a ton of pain, or you've got, that fatigue, even though you just woke up. I would say breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, and probably do that for as big of a breath as you can, and then out, and do it 4 or 5 repetitions. That's important. And then, honestly, I'm not sure what a lot of lupus patients do. What I do, and some of the people I know with lupus do, is once you are up out of your bed, the first thing that I do is a reading, and just center myself throughout the day and just sit in hopeful quiet and think about what you do have, and try to focus on trust and being thankful for the things that you have in your life. And I think that can really help too. And sometimes mechanically, it really is true. Splash some cold water on your face, and that can help jumpstart your day and make you feel like, okay, I am alive. I know some tricks for energy too are just to tell yourself you can do it. Get some water in your body to flush out anything that shouldn't be there from the day before. Water is extremely important, and start your system moving. And I don't know, I always have a jump start of caffeine in the morning too. So
Me too.
yeah, cool.
Let's see, here's another one. And sorry, I neglected to mention, participants, feel free to ask your questions now. There's never a bad question. So
I see one came in for favorite stretches to complement the exercises aside from, yes. Okay, so with the legs, that's a big muscle. You want to stretch that. I do have a favorite exercise. Thank you for asking. So if you want to stretch, say, the front of your leg here, I like to do just a split leg stretch and lean into it to the point where you feel the stretch here, but not too much because you don't want to overstretch the muscle. And then if you want to stretch it even more and get your hip flexor, which is the muscle that joins the hip to the leg, a little more, tuck in your seat. So just that slight motion. So from here to here really gets the front of the leg. And I like that stretch, which you can do holding onto the back of the chair too, instead of grabbing your leg, because sometimes it's hard to actually grab your foot. The other trick is to use your pant leg to stretch that leg. Okay, but I just like using the floor, and that seems to be enough. Here's another trick. If you use a wall, you can actually put your hand against the wall, and we're going to stretch the bicep and the shoulder. So say the wall is right here. Say this plane is the wall. I'm going to put my hand on the palm of the wall and move my body away from it. That's a gentle way to stretch the bicep. And you can move your hand higher up the wall or lower down the wall to where you feel a safe, good stretch. And the same applies for if you're doing your shoulder, you just turn the other way. Oh, so I'm turning away from you right now, and I can put my hand higher or lower, and that feels really good. And it's like a little trick to safely stretch my shoulder.
These are great.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, little tricks to make sure you don't overstretch.
Right.
Does that help? Or was there a particular area of the body that you would like to stretch?
No, I think that was good.
Okay.
Absolutely. So how often do you do these workouts every day, or do you take days off? What days?
I vary it a little bit. So some days I mostly do cardio, like even if I'm just walking on a spot in front of my TV, that's really good. Or I've got a little path here in my house, like there's enough room to really just walk around the table. But if all I'm doing is walking that day, I'll probably do my weights, and all I use is 2-pound weights. Sometimes I use 5-pound weights for my biceps, but this is all I use for my shoulders, you know, and I am able to fully extend. So you can pulse and hold, pulse and hold, pulse on the top and hold. So you're kind of changing it up a bit for your muscle to challenge your muscle, and making it more fun for you as well. But so that's one change up. Or I will take a day off here or there, but I'd say I probably exercise 5 days a week. So not all the time with weights, but at least I'm moving. And this kind of exercise is a step up from walking outside, because you're getting more calories burned and you're usually using weights. And you don't have to use weights. You can use your body weight. As long as you even just extend your arms, that's working the shoulders.
That's great. So great. Any other questions that we have from our attendees? I think you were so good. I think everybody's like, oh, they took their notes and they're ready. Thank you so much for your time and learning, teaching us those. Those were great.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was really fun, and I hope that they're helpful to folks.
Yeah. So where can we see more of your videos, Regan?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for asking. So on reganmoves.com, it's REGAN moves.com. There's a couple of videos there to take folks through it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thanks again for your time. And thank you so much for introducing us to Dr. Newald too. That was, wow, what a great day we've had today. We really appreciate it.
We're so proud to support him, and thank you for inviting him so he could talk about his work. Thank you.
It's really important. So yeah, that was great. Well, thank you everyone who's attended today. It's the end of our Lupus Mini Health Conference. We have one more conference coming up, October 16th, and that will be in the Spanish language. So if anybody has any friends who speak Spanish and would like to attend, we will have information coming out in the next few weeks about that. And don't forget, all of these presentations will be available on demand on videos, and that should go out this next week. So you'll be able to watch them whenever you like. And for any additional resources about the Lupus Foundation of Northern California and our programs, you can find those at our website, www.lfnc.org. Or if you have any questions, you can email them to us at communications@lfnc.org. I hope you all have found this conference useful, helpful, and learned something. And I hope we all see you again in the future. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.